In this presentation, ideas concerning the issues of the teaching profession will be addressed along with potential solutions that can improve the lives of teachers across the nation. The issue of teachers not being satisfied with their jobs and leaving the profession is an issue that is fairly new. According to Brian Lynn, statistics were collected that demonstrated, quote, a shortage of teachers which reached a 10-year low in 2016, close quote. Due to the decrease in teacher involvement and high attrition rates, there is a desperate need for reform inside the teaching occupation. I will argue that teachers are leaving their jobs at an alarming rate, creating a shortage because of the treatment by administration, unfair compensation, and an imbalance between states regarding teaching jobs. The audience for my final paper is Randy Weingarten, who is the president of the American Federation of Teachers. The reason that the issue of teacher shortage is of concern to Ms. Weingarten is because as the president of AFT, she needs to be aware of the fairness, economic opportunity, and quality of public education in order to improve the lives of teachers. I will present information that makes this issue real to Ms. Weingarten by giving examples of personal stories and presenting statistics that show where teachers think the system is lacking. I will also stress that this issue should be important to her by explaining how the union as a whole can be an advocate for teachers and help them fulfill their needs. Young teachers are seen as energetic and committed. However, their efforts to build a great classroom environment are in vain when they are bombarded with the endless expectations of their superiors. According to Elizabeth Mulvihill, one of the biggest challenges of teaching is, quote, the inadequate preparation by administration and the challenging working conditions and unrealistic expectations, close quote. This statement helps to demonstrate that teachers all over the nation, especially new teachers, are constantly having to manage stress from their bosses and the challenge of managing a successful classroom. My mom is a teacher and has been working in the profession for 20 years. In her last 4 years of teaching, she has been asked to take on new classes every year. She has ranged from administrating the online school program to teaching leadership, digital literacy, and yearbook. Each task was given to my mom from her boss without any consultation with her. Many times she has expressed frustration and stress because she has been required to start from scratch each year as she is required to take on a new task. This situation is not unique to my mom. Teachers everywhere are asked to take on more responsibilities with no additional compensation. Mulvihill also claims that, quote, teachers rate lowest in feeling that their opinions count at work. This leads me into my next point about financial compensation. Brian Lynn claims that, quote, over the past year, teachers from Arizona to West Virginia held major strikes to demand higher wages and better working conditions, close quote. Financial disappointment, along with increasing responsibilities, contribute to teachers leaving the profession. The Department of Education released facts about the teaching profession, and they found that, quote, 2/3 of teachers say that public school teachers' salaries are not fair for the work they do, close quote. With these observations in mind, it should bring a sense of urgency for the American Federation of Teachers to step in and create change. Even after recognizing that teachers are leaving the profession for various reasons, a group named Calder has data to show that, quote, as a nation, we continually produce more teachers than the market demands, close quote. There is some truth to this statement, and I admit that my own siblings are going into education, but that doesn't mean that there are not still problems within the education profession. The data that disproves Calder's claim comes from the U.S. Department of Education. They say that the number of teachers leaving the profession, quote, has increased by 12 points since 2009 from 17% to 29%. In addition to other counterclaims, in 2016 data from the U.S. Department of Education showed that the number of teachers going into secondary education is expected to rise 12% in the next 10 years, close quote. This may be true, but there are still not enough teachers in various subjects that are vital to student success. According to California Superintendent Tom Torlaxon, the areas in which the U.S. still lacks teachers are special education, CTE, science, and math. In order to combat the issues of teachers leaving, changes need to be made. One of the most critical things about a successful, healthy workplace is establishing trust between colleagues and their bosses. By doing so, teachers will be able to feel more validated and appreciated, and in turn, it can motivate them to be more open to what their superiors ask of them. Another very important change would be raising the wages of teachers to match the amount of work that they do. By doing this, teachers would be more willing to take on more responsibilities and extra assignments. I have talked about solutions to some problems in the teaching profession, but there are still more. One of the biggest complications with going into teaching is the fact that not every state is created equal in job requirements and benefits. This is an issue because teachers are not able to be mobile and move if they need or want to. In a 50-state comparison, Stephanie Aragon found that only 6 out of 50 states have, quote, full reciprocity for all fully licensed teachers, close quote. This means that not all states offer the same benefits for teachers. Because this is the case almost everywhere, teachers are not satisfied, and potential teachers may think twice before getting their degrees. States also vary in their individual requirements for teachers to be able to teach. Aragon explains that, quote, 31 states require even licensed teachers to take additional training courses. 43 states require that teachers transferring between states take additional tests before hiring them, close quote. Teachers everywhere have to have at least a bachelor's degree in education to teach. However, if they decide to move out of state, there's a very high chance that they will have to pay for and take even more classes than they already have. The AFT should be concerned about equality among states so that teachers can feel more secure in their job choice by ensuring that they will have the same benefits regardless of what state they're teaching in. The AFT believes in equal economic opportunity and therefore should be invested in finding solutions to these issues. The issue of teacher shortage is not something people should brush off because they think they are not affected by it. In fact, students and communities are affected when teachers stop teaching. Rachel Metz agrees that students need good teachers in their lives to propel them into the future. She saw a post on social media that read, quote, "To hear Trina's counselor say they haven't offered a senior science class for the last 3 years, I'm flabbergasted." Close quote. Trina is not the only student that fails to receive the education she desires due to a shortage of teachers. This is the case many places all over the country. Dr. Camilla Highfield argues that the solution to this issue should be more sought after because it affects everyone, not just the students. She explains that this is the case because the students going to school now will someday enter the workforce and become adult members of their communities. Without a proper education and good teachers to guide students, quote, the overall education of the workforce is lowered, close quote. The needs of teachers cannot continue to be ignored. Unless changes are made to improve administration's communication, to improve financial compensation, and to improve balance between states, teachers will continue to drop at more increasing rates. Making the necessary changes to the school system for teachers will introduce the potential to better the lives of teachers, students, and communities. The tools we need to solve these problems are right in front of us. We just need to use them.